What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of High-End Client Acquisition. Today we got Mark Lack as a guest. He's a best-selling author, brilliant marketer. He interviewed thousands of influencers and millionaires on his show, Business Rockstars, that we can all learn from. Today, he'll be sharing with us how you can build a personal brand from scratch through content, how you can use it to get guests on your show, and even monetize it. Let's jump in. Welcome to High-End Client Acquisition Podcast. My name is Marian. I'm your host, and this show is here to teach you how to attract your dream clients on autopilot in 30 days or less. Each week, I bring you a guest or a strategy that can help you take your business to the next level. Don't forget, you can always get the episodes in your inbox or messenger at clientacquisitionpodcast.com. Hey, Mark, first of all, thanks for doing this interview with me, man. Before we jump into content, I die to ask you this question. Please tell me, is it really true that you actually won $300,000 in playing paintball?
Yeah, that was a good time. It was something that not a lot of people obviously got to experience. And I think that, the two best lessons from playing paintball at the pro level was definitely just like the mindset that it takes to play at the top level of anything. I don't want to say unfortunately, but unfortunately will be the word I choose. Unfortunately, I became one of the best in the world at a hobby and a sport that the cap was only a couple $100,000 versus looking back, I wish that I had become one of the best in the world at tennis or basketball or something that would have given me more opportunity. But nevertheless, the culture, the experience, the lessons, the mindset shift, and the people that I met was an amazing chapter in my life that probably, looking back, had played a major role in getting me to where I'm at as an entrepreneur.
That is so cool, man. All right. So for people that don't know Mark that well, they're not familiar with your show, Business Rockstars, or with what you do, can you give us some context around who you are and what you do exactly?
Yeah, it's simple. What we do is help people with personal brands. It's not anything, I can make it sound complex, but the simple part of it is helping people become more known and help them get people to like them and trust them at scale. I have come to realize that when you look around at the most well-known people on the planet, they're also the people that are usually the most successful people on the planet. And so what I've come to realize is that our financial success, mine, yours, and the people listening right now, our financial success is usually in some proportion to the amount of people that know us, like us, and trust us. And the essence of personal branding in its simplest form is getting people to know you, like you, and trust you at scale because you stand for something. You help people overcome a problem, a frustration, a limiting belief, a hurdle, an inner conflict, something that is a goal, a result that they want to have, that they want to experience, but they're not there yet. You bridge the gap. You shorten the gap from where they are in their life, their health, their mindset, their relationships, their business, whatever it is that you help them with, you get them to the results that they want. And you do that at scale and position yourself in the marketplace as a thought leader, as an expert, as a trusted advisor, as the go-to preeminent choice above all other people. You're the person to go to if they want the best, or if they want like the people's person. There's different types of personal brands you can build, but in essence, that's what we help people do, is we help them build a personal brand that impacts people. Above all, it impacts people in a really powerful way. And then we scale that. And as a result of impacting people, you make more money and you add different revenue streams that maybe weren't possible with just a business until you add the personal branding component in. And so that's our main focus.
I really love the way you simplified it, man. Now, why do you think it's important to build a personal brand?
Fantastic question. I think when we look at the past and we look at the future and we're kind of sitting somewhere in the middle, I think that personal brands have always kind of been there, but they've been there more as a celebrity. Like before today, before this 2017, 2018, a little bit of 2016 trend of influencers, online influencers, it was really celebrities and entertainers, from sports athletes to music to television to, movies, anybody that was really in the entertaining space that was making millions and was, known by millions. Those were really the people that had personal brands. We didn't even call them that. We called them celebrities. And then we got into this new space in 2015, 16, 17, and now the beginning of 2018. It's really prominent and everybody's aware of it, even like my grandma, online influencers. And an online influencer is really just somebody who's built a personal brand that has a lot of people that know them, like them, and trust them. And so they have influence. You have influence amongst your friends, maybe amongst your family, maybe amongst your colleagues or your employees if you're the boss, but it's very limited. And therefore your success probably is in proportion to those people that you can influence. Where if you have millions of people or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that you can influence in a way that impacts them and then also leads them to take action to give you their money for more impact for your services, for your offerings, that's when you start to really have a powerful personal brand. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's not a magic pill. A lot of people, they want to get into it for the wrong reasons. A lot of people, would rather try to do all this other stuff that people sell online, like email marketing, social media marketing, selling online. But yet we don't go to our emails, most of us, to consciously go, I have some downtime. I'm not going to go on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or the other apps that I like to go and consume content on. I'm going to go to my email to consume content. We don't usually think like that. And we also don't usually go, you know what? I've got a credit card in my hand. I'm going to go on Facebook or Instagram to make a purchasing decision. We don't normally do that. And so to build an email list, to nurture people with content and to sell on social media, when we can probably all agree that, oh, wow, those things you just said really make sense. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't be successful business models of email marketing and selling on social media. Yes, there are a lot of people, I'm friends with a lot of them, that make so much money doing that. But the problem is the average person has to do that for so long before they'll ever really become successful. And so I'm not saying to not do it. I'm saying that if you're going to do that, then you might as well, because it's going to take a long time to be successful at that. You might as well also do what else is going to take a long time to be successful. And that's personal branding. I think personal branding is so important for everybody, whether you're in college looking to get a career, because most hiring managers, I think it's like 85% of hiring managers is the last stat I read. They go on social media before hiring somebody. So after they've narrowed you down in the interview to making the final decision, one of the things they do is they go on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and they look and see who the real person is. They want to go and see who the real you is. And guess where they're going to find that? What are you posting on Snapchat and Twitter and Instagram stories and Facebook? That's who the real you is. And we're going to find out if you put on a good front on your interview and your resume when I find out who you are for the last 3 years on your social media news feed. Bingo. That's your personal brand in a nutshell, is how you show up online at scale and making sure that that is in direct proportion to the real person that you stand for. And then, obviously, if you do it in an effective way that we teach, and maybe we'll extract some of the different ways we do that, you'll learn how to turn that into a monetary, benefit. But whether you're getting a job, whether you're trying to get a promotion, whether you're trying to go out and be an entrepreneur and start your own business, whether you already have a $1 billion company or a $10 million company, personal branding literally works for everybody. And the reason why is because we all have personal brands anyways. You're just not taking who you are in life. When people go, oh, I really like you. Oh, you're really this, you're really that. Those things they like about you. Imagine if 1 million people like the same thing about you. And then you had effective ways to turn that into an impactful tool to impact other people's lives and then also be compensated financially for that. That's what we help people do. That is the essence of why I think personal branding is so important, is because you already have a personal brand. You just aren't benefiting from it. And I think that as we get more and more into the future of robotics and automation and systemization, where the average low wage job is going to be replaced through robotics and systemization and automation, I think most people's jobs are going to be replaced. And if you don't have a damn good reason why your personal brand is something that can't be replaced through a robot or some software, I think that personal branding is going to be the key to longevity and a successful career, as well as a preeminent positioning in a marketplace that's maybe really competitive with, business products and offerings. So, I mean, I could rant forever about why I think personal branding is important, but that's it in a nutshell.
And what if, so somebody, let's say they have a business already, maybe making money, already being profitable or not. Like, is it a stage, like a specific time when someone should start building that personal brand?
You should have started yesterday. You should have started in 2010. I wish that I knew about personal branding even sooner, or at least the awareness and education and passion that I have for it now of truly understanding how it integrates into everything that you do and how it maximizes your happiness, your fulfillment, your ability to grow as a human being, your ability to become more financially secure and confident in your own future, your family's future. There's so many things that would lead me to say, when would be the best time to start? As soon as possible. And if you didn't start yesterday, then start right now today. And then the next logical question would inevitably, well, how do I start? What's the first step? So we can get into that, but this is, you're steering the ship here. So
cool, man. Right on point. I think you are going to love this next question. If someone is changing careers, how they can build that brand in a new industry, or is that stopping them from even starting out? What's your thought on that?
The thing that personal branding people have to understand is that there's really two different types of personal brands from the way I see it. There's one where you build a personal brand just because of the leverage it gives you for financial benefit, financial benefit. So what you're saying is, hey, if I built a personal brand and I'm the real estate guy and everyone knows me as the real estate guy and I made all my money over here and they follow me for real estate, what happens when I go over here and I'm doing social media marketing agency, or if I'm doing chiropractics, or if I'm doing this, shampoo company or dog food company? It's completely different than what everyone followed me for real estate. That's one issue. And why I think that the other one I'm about to explain is more effective and why it's better. But some people build personal brands just as the go-to person in their space, and that's okay. You can do that, but then you hit the hurdle of what happens when I want to make a shift. And so what I recommend is, you can do that if you want, but the one I'm going to give you is a better example. So this example is a person who builds a personal brand simply because it embodies what they stand for. It embodies their reason why. Simon Sinek talks about your why. And I think that if you build a personal brand based on your why, what it is that you stand for. I stand for my why. To give context to this, my why is that I believe everybody can be more. They can become a better version of themselves, so that as a result of becoming a better version of yourself, you can then give more value. You've become better, so you can then give more. And as a result of becoming a better version of yourself in all ways, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, communication, emotional intelligence, everything about you is becoming better every day, every week, every month, every year. So you can give more value. You can provide better quality services. And as a result, you have more money, you have better partnerships, you have more opportunities, you have more confidence. So be more so you can give more, so you can have more. And it's this fulfilling prophecy of the more I read and invest in myself, the smarter I become. So the more knowledge I have to share. And as a result, people go, you're helping me more. And then I make more money and I get more speaking opportunities and interview opportunities. I have my own television show on an airline company. All of these things happen because I become a better version of myself, so I can give more, and then I have more. And so my why is that I'm a living example of how to be more, have more, and give more. Because if you just follow me for 30 days, if you follow me for 2 years, you're going to see that I'm a living example. I am being better, giving more, and having more all of the time. And so that's why people follow me. And that's my why. And then my passions might have been paintball. Maybe it's hiking, maybe it's swimming, maybe it's going to the gym, maybe it's being healthy, maybe it's family, maybe it's cars. Those are my passions. So my why is my core. Then my passions are the other things people might follow me. Oh man, I love what Mark stands for, his why. I also like that he believes in this, values this, is passionate about this, because I am too. Oh, and by the way, he happens to sell real estate. He happens to do a social media marketing company. He happens to be a dentist. He happens to be a chiropractor. He happens to have a brand new dog food line. He happens to be named Gary Vaynerchuk, who used to do Wine Library, now does Gary Vaynerchuk, social media, VaynerMedia. Oh, by the way, he writes books. Oh, by the way, he also has a new company called Vayner Sports. And so it's like you follow these people because of their reason for why they are alive, why they show up every day on camera. Oh, and by the way, they share their passions with you, which might resonate. Oh, and by the way, they make money like this, which might resonate. So at some point, you come into their funnel of a personal brand because of how they make money, because of their passion, because of their why. And then as you stay around it long enough, you realize that your circle, your sphere lines up with theirs. And so you like Gary Vee more than Tony Robbins or Ty Lopez or T. Harv Eker or Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar or the old school guys or Les Brown or Peter Voog or Gerard Adams. Your sphere lines up differently on top of their passions, why, and money makers. And so when people are following you versus me or Ty Lopez versus Lewis Howes, it's because their spheres are lining up differently with the way they make money, their passions, and their why. Does this make sense?
It does, man. It really does. I love it. I think where people get it wrong sometimes is right there, but you really nail it. So going towards the interview part, like you did thousands of interviews by now, right? How can you stand out when you want to reach out to some influencer or thought leader or anybody that you want to interview? How can you stand out in front of them or in their inbox or the text message, whatever it would be?
So remember that they get reached out to all the time, so they don't give a crap about you reaching out to them. Yes, it feels nice to say, you've inspired me. You're so amazing. Congrats on what you've achieved. That's nice, but they also have heard that 1,000 times. Especially the bigger they are, the more likely whatever you're going to say has happened to them. The bigger they are, the more likely anything you think is creative has already happened to them. Because as soon as you go, oh man, I wondered that, there's 7 million people following them. Trust me, you're not the only person. And so you have to really give them value. You have to really know and do your research. What is going to move the needle for this person? And so my recommendation is a couple things. One, above all else, is find a way to invest in them. If there's a product, if there's a service, if there's a mastermind, if there's a workshop, if there's a charity gala event, if there's something, a pop-up shop, if there's something that they're doing which is in their wheelhouse, one of their passions, represents their why, one of their charities, one of the ways they make money, and there's a way to get involved in that, that's going to be it. Gary Vaynerchuk will screenshot and shout you out to 2.7 million people if you just buy 10 of his books on Amazon, screenshot it, and DM him on Instagram. He'll screenshot that and be like, shout out, thanks for buying my books and supporting me. For buying 10 books, Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the biggest guys online, will screenshot your face and shout you out if you just DM him on Instagram that you bought 10 of his books. I just saw him do it every day from all the people buying his pre-ordered books. So the number one way to stand out for these people is put your money where your mouth is. Don't raise your hand and be like the 2.7 million people that want their free time, that want their free whatever. Put your money where your mouth is and give them even just a little bit of proof that you're serious and buy their book, buy this, do something like that. Because that's one of the only ways to go from the 2.7 million people looking for a handout, please, anything. I already give thousands of hours of content a year for free. What else do you want for free? So to ask for something when we already feel like we give so much in free value is the wrong approach. Give them your money in some way that validates that you're part of their charity, you're part of their program, you're part of their mission, you're part of their whatever, to automatically differentiate yourself. Then, once you've done that, then you can do the strategy, which you know, because you're in one of our courses and you've been following me, so you know the ways to buy traffic, real legitimate traffic. And the way that you do that is you go on Facebook or Instagram and you go to boost and you press boost. And then you go on there and you go Gary Vaynerchuk following and you film a video of yourself giving a little tip that is kind of like a version of the way Gary Vaynerchuk might give that tip. So immediately there's a good chance they're going to resonate with it. But be you, don't try to copy him, do your authentic thing. But just know that you're going to be different. Maybe I'd be like, don't target Gary because you're not going to resonate with Gary fans. Instead, you should target Ty Lopez, a little bit more chill, a little bit more down to earth. Who knows, right? But target the audience you want and then pay money to put your video in front of them. And then you'll look on my Facebook page and I've got 200,000 views, but 21,000 followers. How do I possibly have 200,000 views, but 21,000 followers? Most likely you'd have less views than followers, not 10 times more views than followers. And so the reason why is because I pay money to target the people that I want. So I want Tai Lopez fans and followers to know me. I want Gary Vaynerchuk fans and followers and Grant Cardone fans to know me. So I pay money to put my content in front of their followers. It's very easy. How do you think Mark Zuckerberg is worth $50 billion? He has a platform with 2 billion users, and he lets you and me and all of us pay money to reach any of them with our content, with our advertisements, anything we want. I'm not talking about running ads. I'm talking about running content. You could take this video, you could share it on your Facebook page, not profile, your page, and you can spend money to put this in front of Gary Vaynerchuk's followers. And if you spend $500 to $1,000, this video, this interview will get about 100,000 views. And then you can then go to Gary Vaynerchuk or his team and say, shout out Gary here. I bought 20 of your books. I pre-ordered them. It was $300. Mad respect. I love you. Your stuff's been so inspirational. I'm so honored to have bought 20 of your books and give them out as gifts. By the way, I'd love to interview you on your book, after I read it, and I'll guarantee you 200,000 views on Facebook alone, not to mention YouTube, Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. And then the way you do that is because you bought his book, shout out. You're not just asking me for something now. You've at least earned a little bit of my attention because you bought something of mine. So it shows that you're serious and that you're supporting the mission and the cause. And then you have a proven way to guarantee, even with no followers, even with no podcast, even with 0 people following you, 0, you can still get 200,000 people or 2 million people to watch your video in any given time from 1 day to 10 years just by spending money to put it in front of them. This is why Facebook is so powerful. And yet most people use it for trivial activities and to waste time. And they don't realize the power they have in their hands to build a personal brand, to surround themselves with influencers, and to eventually become an influencer and to make millions of dollars and to impact millions of people. It's not overnight, but this is one of the simple ways that you can begin to surround yourself with the top celebrities, influencers, billionaires, etc. And then you do this enough times, and then you've interviewed Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk and Tai Lopez and all the biggest guys. And then guess what? It's much easier to get more people. But the beginning stages is always the hardest. But if you buy the person's stuff, put your money where your mouth is, and then, you pay to acquire views, and you've done it. So when they say, well, let me see your other interviews, you go, oh, well, I haven't done it yet. At least get something where you can, like this. Okay, cool. Boost this to 100,000 people, then go and ask. So when they say, well, where's your thing? You can say my very first show ever, my very first interview ever got 100,000 views. So imagine how good the Gary Vee one will be. I'll guarantee 500,000. And here's the cool part. When you pay money to put Gary Vaynerchuk's interview of you and him in front of Gary Vaynerchuk's following, it's so much cheaper than putting our interview in front of Gary's following, because they're going to be like, who are these two guys? But if you put it in front of Gary with you and Gary, you're going to spend take a penny and snip it into 100 pieces. And each one of those pieces is how much it'll cost you to get one view. So $500 could get you 200,000 views. And then you have an interview with Gary Vaynerchuk for $500 for 200,000 views. Now, granted, it might be digital like this, or you might go and see him in person. But either way, I mean, that's how I would get started. That's how I did get started. And then obviously the rest is history.
That's awesome. And to be honest, I don't think I've heard someone saying it this way before, like spending money on a piece of content without putting a call to action to it. You don't hear it too often. And this is basically the step-by-step process on how to become an influencer by, either interviewing others, and then you can align your name with their brand and things like that. And I think I heard you speak for the first time on this topic was last year at Billie Jean's event. And then as soon as that was done, I literally went back to 2 of my interviews that I had at the time, and I started promoting them, and the engagement went to the roof. So I appreciate that, man. And I hope everybody that's listening now understands the power behind it. Now, that gets me to the next question. For a micro influencer, let's say, 10, 15,000 followers, real followers, how they can monetize their own following?
So great question. This is the inevitable progression, right? You're basically like, you're extracting so much value for the people listening right now. So if they're watching all the way through, I mean, we're just laying the stones for them to cross the river. There's a lot of ways you can monetize it. So in all honesty, for the sake of answering this question with some brevity and to keep it short, I won't obviously go into my 2-day seminar, like breaking down how to do it. But there's a couple quick ways I'll rapid fire for people. One of the things you absolutely must do above just getting them to watch your videos and get views is you got to engage. So when people are liking, commenting, sharing, you need to get on there and you need to say, thanks for sharing. You need to say, hey, thanks for tagging your friend. Thanks for engaging. Thanks for this. Thanks for the shout out. And you need to be on there engaging because, again, the know you, like you, trust you, people are only going to know you if they watch your video, maybe like you and trust you, but way more like and trust if you're engaging. It's be like if you were, I don't know I can make up examples. Like, for example, people are watching this interview and then they comment, wow, that was great. And then all of a sudden you and I go and comment back to them, it takes it to the next level. It was one thing for them to watch us. It's a whole nother thing when they comment and say, wow, that was so great. And then you and I go on there and respond to them. Now we're starting to build a relationship. And when we do that, it exponentially amplifies the possibilities of continuing to get this person's engagement and then eventually having that transition in the relationship to where they want to work, one-on-one in one of our programs for our book. And so it's the engagement that's absolutely essential in the monetization process because it's kind of like, think of it as a relationship building. You don't just go straight from the first thing to the end result. There's a middle ground. And so ultimately the most important part in building a personal brand is the engagement, not just putting stuff out there and people see it. It's making sure that you're actually responding to people, you're thanking people, you're acknowledging people. Then after that, you basically want to, without getting into the ninja stuff, you just want to make sure that, the people that you have been engaging with, you're keeping track of. And then you go back, and when you have a product or when you have a service or when you have something, you want to slowly invite them up the ladder. Don't just take them straight up to a huge, massive offer. Just slowly stair step them and be like, hey, by the way, I'm doing this other thing. You might want to check it out. I'm doing a webinar. I'm doing a video series. I have a private community. If you want to go from my Facebook page over to my private community, it's for free. But now you're taking the engaging people and you're bringing them over into a private community. And then in that private community, you provide different levels of service that's way more engaging. So now everyone that engages on your page where you're reaching millions or hundreds of thousands, you're bringing those engagements over into a private community. And then in there, you're nurturing them differently than you would over here. And then eventually you've got thousands of people over here that are diehard engaging fans. And then you can do free videos and webinars and trainings in there to really position you as the trusted advisor amongst your group. Over here is the personal brand, the celebrity, the influencer, that person, the well-known guy. Over here is the trusted advisor. I'm going above and beyond to help you guys for free. And then guess what? When I make an offering, you can't not work with me because everybody else is selling you. I've been bringing you over to a private community that's more intimate so I could specifically give you more value in a private setting. And then inevitably, it only makes sense that out of integrity, because I believe in what I sell, I believe in what I offer, I have a moral responsibility to have the conversation with you about what it would look like for you to be in our community, to work with us, to buy our services, because ethically, it's my responsibility to serve you. If you have a problem, if you're frustrated, if your back hurts, I'm a chiropractor. It's my responsibility to help you. If I'm a dentist and you have bad teeth, it's my responsibility to, at the very least, educate you on how to fix that. And then if you really want the highest level service, we can talk about that. If I'm a doctor, if I'm a real estate person, it's my responsibility to make sure you're taken care of, and I'll educate you for free. And then eventually I will then circle back with you and say, hey, by the way, that free education was good. Let me actually support you now on the journey of getting the best price, getting the best dental work, getting the best adjustment, getting the best social media help. It only makes sense, right?
I hope everyone is taking notes here because you made things so easier to understand. and implement. Now, I'm sure you hear this a lot, but around this trend, through millennials, and not just that, but people, quitting their job so they can become a personal brand and monetize their passion type of trend. What's your thought on that?
So you asked a couple things that I want to point out. I'm going to kind of go scattered on it real quick here. You said passions they want to monetize. I would avoid monetizing passions, and which is counterintuitive advice to what we've heard. And I got this advice from a billionaire friend of mine who said, screw going after your passions unless your passion happens to be a red hot opportunity and long-term trend to make a lot of money. And that then once you've cashed in and made a boatload of money, you can then go over and you can do whatever you want with your passions and hobbies, and you don't have to worry about making money, because a lot of people's passions will never make them a living and will never give them financial security. I'll say that again. A lot of people's passions will never give them financial security and abundance so that they can truly have what I believe is one of the best feelings ever, which is knowing that you don't have to stress out about money. It's ironic how people with money don't think about money and people without money always think about money. And so, because they're always stressed, it literally guides their ability to make decisions. When they sit at the restaurant and they make, what they're going to order, they look at the price. And so, when they're going to go and do something, they look at the price. And so people that don't have money are crippled, always thinking about money and how it limits their ability to make decisions and do what they want. So how that correlates to your passions is passions don't always lead to money. And so I would not advise most people, this is out of context, there's no specifics here, but just as a broad generalization, most going after your passions is usually not a good idea unless your passions are like, a great way that people are making money. Like, I'm passionate about marketing. Great. Marketing is a great way to make money. Genius. Sales, I'm passionate about sales. Great. That's a great way to make money. I'm passionate about baking cookies. I don't know if that's going to be a good idea. Now, granted, there's Famous Amos, and my friend actually founded that company, my business partner. It's like, there are always going to be ways that you can monetize passions. Yeah, I know. There's always going to be that guy. But for the most part, I would not go after your passions. Now, how does somebody quit their job and go and make money? Well, I don't think that most people should quit their job and go after being self-employed, because what they don't realize is that, yes, there's a lot of people that might make it look easy. Like, I am 27 and have, I think, from where I'm at, an amazing life, but I'm barely even scraping my potential of what I'm capable of. So for most people, though, they don't know that my first 2 years, I struggled. My first year, I struggled a ton as a self-employed, as a self-employed job. All I did was not have a job to go into a job that I got paid less money because I created it myself. And so honestly, for most people out there in society, they're better off keeping a job until they are ready and have a ton of money, multiple six figures in the bank, so that they can stay afloat for a year and not make any money. If you don't have enough money in the bank to stay afloat and pay all your living expenses for 1 year, while also having the capital to build a business and grow a business and get the proper mentorship and game plan to succeed in business model, to invest in marketing, to maybe even outsource or hire people to help you, to pay for your legal services and accounting stuff to set up your actual business. There's a lot of expenses. You don't have to. You can set a business up for a couple $1,000s, but then to grow a business, to scale a business, you got to put up some money. Not always, but depending on what your business is, it's going to take thousands of dollars to get your business up and running. It might even take thousands of dollars a month in expenses before you start to make money. And then you got to be able to pay your bills. So for most people, I wouldn't quit your job unless you have at least 1 year of money in the bank and also some leftover capital to grow your business. And then even with that being said, once you're in that position, then you got to go out and invest in a mentor, a consultant, a coach, an advisor. You got to become part of communities with other people looking to achieve the same thing as you, so you can learn from each other and hold each other accountable and support each other and tap into the mastermind of lots of people's experiences versus just your own failures and mistakes. And one mentor, so you get into a mastermind group. There's just a whole learning curve. And then I would also make sure that before I got into a business, I had read, this is a huge one, a minimum of 50 books on the subject matter of getting into that. So if it's dog food, if it's real estate, if it's sales, if it's marketing, if it's investing, if it's crypto, whatever it is, I would read at least 50 books on that subject from top people before I got into quitting my job and going all in on the business. And that's the foundation. I could probably give 10 more things I would do before I would ever quit my job and go all in, because it's a scary journey. A lot of guys online might make it sound easy and sound good, and oh man, it took me 6 months and then I made millions. And so I would just be very weary. I'm actually in the industry and have been for a while. And I know how many people, and I'm in like the easiest industry to make money, online, right? Like nowadays, anyone can make money online. The only thing easier than this is real estate. And so it's like, I'm weary about telling people to jump off of a cliff if they've never done it before. They don't have somebody who showed them. They haven't watched a bunch of YouTube videos on it. They haven't read a bunch of books on it. They don't have a parachute. Like there's just a lot of things. There's no water at the bottom. Like there's just so many things that I would advise somebody on before they quit their job. Now, on the other side of that, having made it sound all scary and dangerous, it's also the most fulfilling, most rewarding thing you'll ever do. Being self-employed, going from self-employed to business owner, having employees, having leverage and having freedom, and then eventually working up to the position of investor if you choose to, where now you sit back and you go from making your own money and having slightly more choices to having leverage and having a business with employees where other people make you money based on what you've set up with systems and a team. And then you go from selling that maybe, or accruing enough money from a lifestyle business that you then become an investor and you make your money work for you instead of you working to get money. Your money works for you. And then you sit back and make sure that all the different ways you've put your money to work are making you the types of returns you want while mitigating the risk. So kind of the evolution of employee to self-employed, individual to business owner to investor. And so it's the best thing ever. It's the most exciting thing ever. It juices me up. I would rather be dead than to do anything other than being on the journey of what I'm doing. But it's not for everybody, right? Like the person who gave me my healthy vegetable juice today probably is not built for that journey. And there's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's just, you got to make that decision. I don't know who's listening right now. But yeah, it's an exciting journey of entrepreneurship, and it's also a rough journey.
Hey man, I really love the fact that you went straight to the point with this one. And, you don't hear too many people talking the truth about this thing. But I know we run out of time here. Before I let you go, I want to make sure we touch on this. Where can people reach out to you if they want to get in touch, if they want to reach your team?
Thanks, man. The best place, whether you want to reach out and personally contact me or my team, whether you want to know about what other different ways that we help people with personal brands and in their business as an entrepreneur, or whether you want to reach out to me on social media and follow the journey and see what we're doing and get access to tons of free information and resources. All of that is at shortenthegap.com. Everything that we give away is all at shortenthegap.com. So I look forward to hearing from people specifically from this interview.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode about personal branding and understood how powerful a personal brand can be. Now, before I let you guys go, if you want to check Mark's free training, I'll put the link in the show notes. It's too long to mention it in here, but you'll be able to register if you go into the show notes of this episode. All right. Thanks a lot for listening again, guys. Don't forget, in the next couple of seconds, I'm going to let you guys know how you can enter the giveaway that we do it on a monthly basis. Stay tuned. Hey, podcast listeners, I want you to know that I really appreciate your attention and I don't take it lightly. That's why each month we pick a lucky winner and we give away books, mentorship, software, courses, iPads, and other cool stuff. The way to enter is go to clientacquisitionpodcast.com and sign up. You'll get all the details there. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.